is NBC Palm Springs.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Sanchez. News of a COVID vaccine has the world buzzing. The CEO of Pfizer announces the breakthrough this morning, saying early data shows the vaccine is more than 90% effective. The company is calling it the most significant medical advance in the last 100 years. Now the vaccine is not approved yet, but when it does become available, will people even get it? Our Kitty Alvarado is live outside Eisenhower Health with more on the good news and some local reaction. Kitty.
That's right, and that was really welcome news here at Eisenhower Health, but still, because it comes at a time when over 100,000 cases a day are averaging across the country, and still no one knows exactly when the first doses will become available.
A great day for science. It is a great day for humanity.
Pfizer's CEO announced Monday early data shows the pharmaceutical company's COVID-19 vaccine is nearly 100% effective.
90% is a game changer.
44,000 people participated in the 2-month-long clinical trials, getting 2 doses. The CEO says they'll be able to have 50 million doses available this year and gradually increasing to 1.3 billion in 2021.
Great news. But mass distribution is ways off.
Governor Newsom says it's great news, but he's worried people will only read the headline.
Because now we believe we have a safe and effective vaccine that is available, and people may go back to their original form. That would be a terrible mistake.
Dr. Eutham Contaxis, the medical director of Eisenhower Health's Tennessee Emergency Department.
We were all very happy.
He's not sure how long before the Valley sees people vaccinated, but he looked at the data released and likes what he sees.
I'm a little more excited because this is not a live vaccine. It's hard to know how long the vaccine would be effective for. They are seeing antibodies being produced within 4 weeks, and there were no significant complications.
Experts say to stop a pandemic, 70% of the population will have to be immunized or have been infected. But recent poll shows only half are willing to get it. Reaction was mixed in the Valley.
Things like this could have a negative effect on a lot of people, and I'm going to wait and see how it turns out.
Super happy because my mother's 93 and she lives in assisted care.
I'm just looking forward to when I can take the vaccines so I don't die. I don't want to die.
I certainly hope it's coming soon because this is no way to live.
A study in the American Journal of Pediatrics shows 1 in 5 parents are hesitant.
Absolutely not. I'd be too scared for that. I need to wait and see what the reaction is for everybody.
Burla says he based his timeline on science, not elections.
Based on impact, that will be the greatest medical advance in the last 100 years.
And the Pfizer CEO says that they will be applying for emergency authorization so it can be widely distributed. But he also says that they don't have enough of the safety data, and that won't be ready until the end of the month. Reporting live from Rancho Mirage, Kitty Alvarado, back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Kitty. And we caught up with Dr. Norbert Bischofberger, one of the inventors of Tamiflu, to hear his thoughts on this vaccine news. Take a listen.
You have to realize this is done with a relatively new technology. And of course, everybody was asking themselves, is it going to work? And if yes, how effective is it going to be? And I think the fact that they got 90% protective efficacy, this is really as good as it could possibly get.
Coming up in our 6 o'clock news hour, we'll hear about what the doctor says about taking the vaccine for himself. Around 10 million doses of that Pfizer vaccine are scheduled to be made available to the United Kingdom by the end of the year. A spokesperson says the UK has procured 40 million doses. Pfizer plans to have more than 1 billion doses of its COVID-19 vaccine globally next year. And on the heels of promising data from Pfizer, the FDA has given fast-track status to a version manufactured by Novavax. Fast-track status means the company could submit sections of its FDA application on a rolling basis as soon as results become available instead of waiting for all the data. The Novavax vaccine is currently in late-stage trials in the UK. It's scheduled to begin phase 3 trials here in the US by the end of the month. And taking a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers for Riverside County and the Coachella Valley, the county doesn't update numbers on the weekend, so this is a 3-day total. 924 new cases were reported in the county. 201 of those are from our Coachella Valley. There were 5 new deaths countywide, and 1 of those came from our valley. The U.S. surpasses another grim milestone in the battle against coronavirus. The total number of cases since the pandemic began has topped 10 million, according to data from Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. not only has more cases than any other nation in the world, but the outbreak is also spreading faster than ever. It only took 10 days for the U.S. to add another million cases. Over the past couple weeks, case numbers have been steadily rising here in Riverside County and the Coachella Valley. Hospitalization rates are also on the rise. Local health experts warn the worst may be coming.
The reality is we're not even seeing a plateau yet. Certainly nationally and even more locally in Riverside County, it continues to slowly rise.
Says as we head into winter with more indoor activities and more tourists visiting the valley, we could see heightened case numbers. And the question is, will tourists even have the same experience coming to the valley right now? Tomorrow, Riverside County finds out if it will be allowed to move out of the purple tier, so less restrictions. Businesses have been doing what they can do to prepare either way.
Can't really say I can predict what's going to happen. We're hoping for the best, that we can go back to dining inside.
Riverside County has to meet the criteria for the red tier for 2 solid weeks before moving up. If we can advance to the red tier, that means in-person instruction could begin again. If you have a child in public school, there are some important deadlines you want to pay attention to. As we wait for that decision, districts are giving updates on their hybrid models. Our Olivia Sandusky joins us live now from Palm Desert High School with more on this story. Olivia.
Sarah, one of those deadlines that you mentioned there, if you're a Desert Sands Unified parent, you have until the end of tomorrow to let them know if you want to stay with their distance learning model. Today, I spoke with parents about that difficult decision, as well as the other districts about their future plans.
Again, many things have changed. We continue to negotiate.
Local school districts are finalizing schedules for the remainder of the year. Desert Sands has proposed a hybrid model combining distance learning and in-person education. Students are automatically enrolled in the hybrid model unless they opt out by November 10th.
And what hybrid looks like is really the question on a lot of parents' minds that the district really isn't giving clear answers to. Right now, there is no official schedule for middle and high school. It is still with the union being negotiated, yet parents are asked to pick if they would like the hybrid model.
But the district says they can't provide more details until they know how many families want to remain in distance learning.
We totally understand how they're trying to look at every aspect of this. It is whether or not you feel comfortable having your child physically located in the school with other students, or if you prefer to keep them in the distance learning model.
As the deadline approaches, Ria says the lack of information feels unfair to parents.
I would want them to push this deadline back until parents have information.
Tonight, I'm going to talk about the small cohort.
Palm Springs Unified parents faced a similar decision. 30% said they will not send their students back for in-person instruction this school year. And in Coachella Valley Unified, a forum on November 10th will lay out the district's hybrid model. Then parents will be asked which path their child will take.
They have from November 10th to November 17th to be able to select whether they want to remain in distance learning or if they want to move into the hybrid model.
Again, that deadline for Desert Sands Unified parents, the end of tomorrow. Coachella Valley Unified is looking at next Tuesday. You can reach out to both of those districts directly if you have more questions about what each model entails. Reporting live in Palm Desert, Olivia Sandusky, NBC Palm Springs.
All right, thank you, Olivia. Free coronavirus testing and flu shots are available in Coachella, and they'll be available in Coachella tomorrow. The drive-through and walk-through event will run from 10 to 4 in the parking lot of Bagduma Park. It's organized by the City of Coachella and the Central Neighborhood Health Foundation. You can make an appointment by calling the number there on your screen. President-elect Joe Biden announces a 13-member COVID-19 advisory council. It includes some prominent experts in science and public health. The group will help him develop a plan of attack to combat the pandemic as soon as he's sworn into office. Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris heard from the experts this morning in a Zoom meeting. They're making it clear that the blueprint for addressing the pandemic will be grounded in science.
This group will advise on detailed plans built on a bedrock of science and to keep compassion, empathy, and care for every American at its core.
Biden is also strongly urging Americans to wear a mask, stressing it's not a political statement.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
All right, moving away from coronavirus, some Southern California mountain communities got their first big snow dump of the season over the weekend. On Saturday, parts of the San Bernardino Mountains reported nearly 7 inches of new snow. What a lucky dog. And take a look at this time-lapse video from the top of the tram. Long, dark shadows moving across the fresh snow. The season's first snow started to fall Saturday and continued off and on into Sunday, but this is the first day we've had a really clear view of the snow in the mountains. It was gorgeous. Nice the snow came so early this year. NBC Palm Springs Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett is standing by with a look at what we can expect moving forward. Mike, do we have any more snow in our future?
It's
soon.
looking entirely possible, yeah. You know, a lot of times with these systems, especially the early season systems, it's just kind of a one and done. It'll move through, high pressure builds in behind that, we get warm again. Well, bear in mind that we had 2 storm systems this weekend, the one that passed on Friday night and Saturday morning, and then again that one on Sunday afternoon. So it was kind of a prolonged thing. It's moved well off towards the north and east. I'll show you that in a moment. Condensation cleared today. It's like Sarah was saying, you could just see those sugar tops on the mountains. It was gorgeous, and it was not warm. 67 degrees actually breaks a record. After all of the heat records that we've broken so far this year, this is the coolest it's ever been on today's date at Palm Springs International. 13 degrees below average, nowhere near record territory. And look at that, in the overnight hours, it was 46 degrees. 55 is the 30-year average. Take a look at radar right now. Everything is long gone. I'll show you that coming up in just a moment. One thing I want to make you aware of, though, is that there are frost advisories and freeze warnings in place for parts of the Inland Empire. So not necessarily here, although it is entirely possible that you could see a little frost on the grass if you're up and out early golfing tomorrow morning. Do be aware of that. Hard freeze warning in place for the Apple and Lucerne valleys. Temperatures getting into the 20s there overnight, and it is bone dry. So there's our low. Remember, yesterday it was parked right over top of Nevada. It has now moved off towards the north and east, taking that gusty wind and all that precipitation along with it, pulling in some dry air behind it. But look at this. We've got another trough swinging across the region that will keep those temperatures in the low range. It'll be slightly warmer than it was today, and another system moving in on Friday and Saturday could bring some more coastal rain and mountain snow. Taking a look right now at 61 degrees, Palm Springs International. Light breeze coming in there. Nice to be able to say that after the weekend that we had, and a lot of evaporation taking place. 29% humidity out there. Next 3 days brought to you by Comfort Air. So good. So good. We're talking about low to mid 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Those overnights will ride in the mid 40s. That's a chilly start for you. We'll get that into the lower 50s on Thursday. It looks like we're going to stay either at or below average for the next 7 days. I'll walk you through the whole thing coming up.
Day 2 of the Kellogg fire burning in Palm Springs. It started yesterday near a salvage yard. It's currently 26 acres and is 50% contained. All evacuation orders have been lifted, and firefighters will remain on scene working towards full containment. Riverside County's civil grand jury releases its final report on whether or not the county lost millions of dollars by paying for a consulting firm to find how to save money. The jury found there were some limited savings and benefits to county departments, but no evidence the project came close to paying for itself. They also found leadership has not followed up on recommendations that could have brought more savings. The report recommends the County Board of Supervisors put those plans into action and put together an independent agency to track it all. The board will visit the report tomorrow. Coming up next, we remember the life and legacy of Alex Trebek, who died yesterday at the age of 80 after a battle with pancreatic cancer. We're talking to a local man who was a Jeopardy contestant, and one of the last, and learned to speak English by watching Trebek. Stay with us. Alex Trebek, the beloved host of Jeopardy, lost his battle with cancer. He passed away peacefully at his home, surrounded by family and friends. Trebek announced last year he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He hosted Jeopardy for almost 37 years. Trebek was born in Canada, but lived much of his life in Los Angeles. He was 80 years old. Alex Trebek meant so much to so many fans of the game. Every weeknight, he'd come on TV and he'd have the answers. According to one local man whose episode aired just last week, Alex Trebek actually helped him learn English. Take a look at this moment that's now gone viral on social media. It's been viewed now more than 5 million times.
The new champion, 20,400 for Burt Thacker. Any family members back home cheering you on?
You know, here's a true story, man. I learned English because of you. And so my grandfather, who raised me, I'm going to get tears right now. I used to sit on his lap and watch you every day. So it's a pretty special moment for me, man. Thank you very much.
We caught up with Burt earlier today to talk about the impact Alex Trebek had on his life.
I grew up in India. We immigrated to New York City. And Jeopardy played such an integral part of my life because whereas other immigrants learned how to speak, listening to shows like Sesame Street, for me was Jeopardy because Alex Trebek had such a distinct diction. You know, you have those moments in life where you get to do something that you're like, how in the heck did I get here? I know everyone else thinks they're special for being here, but this is my moment. That's the way it felt.
That was from our interview, I mistakenly said, from last week, but we will have more from Burt Thacker coming up later tonight. Jeopardy announces episodes Trebek taped will continue to air through Christmas Day. His last day in the studio was just 10 days ago on October 29th. Our condolences to Trebek's wife and kids. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back. Here's a live look courtesy of our Walter Clark 111 cam. Some clear skies out there today. That storm system took off like a rocket overnight last night. I'll show you where it is coming up in a moment here. Off towards the north and east, took the gusty winds with it, took the precipitation with it, left the cold behind. We've got a wide open door to the north right now. It's been keeping temperatures in a very winter-like zone today. Looks like we're going to take that into tomorrow as well. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. We've got some eye-popping totals coming in here. So as we had forecasted going into the weekend, it looks like the bulk of the rain wrapped around that second low and put most of the the moisture in San Diego County. So I'm going to try it. Let's go with Lake Cuyamaca. That wasn't bad. Almost 4 inches of rain. What's really great about that is there's a reservoir. This is in San Diego County up in the mountains there near Julian. So yeah, 4 inches of water directly into the reservoir is great news. Remember, we are technically in drought status right now. Julian itself, almost 2 3/4 there. Closer to home, Whitewater Trout Farm, almost an inch of rain there. Lower Tockwitz Creek, Windy Point. This was pretty much what we had forecasted as well. We weren't expecting a deluge here, but we got the ground wet and we stopped the streak. Remember, we had been well over 200 days without any meaningful rainfall at Palm Springs International. We stopped that streak at 210 days. 284 was the record, so we did very well there. And then Sarah was telling you about the snow. Some amazing totals coming in. Snow Valley Resort, I was just mountain biking there 3 weeks ago, and now they've got almost 2 feet of fresh snow on the ground. Big Bear and Snow Summit, they got about 12 inches at the base, but up on the top there, about 18 inches. Lake Arrowhead, 11 to 12 inches. San Jacinto at the Ranger Station, 10 inches of snow there. Mountain High Resort, almost 8 inches there. Idlewild got it between 4 and 6. And then Oak Glen, what's significant about that is remember that we had not 1 but 2 fires there, and it was wonderful to get some snow on the ground there and put the rest of those embers out and put the rest of fire season out. Here's what we're looking at as far as Futurecast goes. All of that rain and snow is going to continue to move off towards the north and east. We will see some high cloud cover moving in and another trough that will come across the region here. You can see it on infrared. And what that does is acts as an insurance policy for us. Doesn't bring any more rain or snow, but keeps that door or window open to the north there and will keep us cool, especially in the overnights. You saw that a moment ago. We're going to stay in the 40s for a couple more nights and to keep those daytime temperatures in the 70s. It's chilly right now. Look at this, 61 degrees. We are almost on par with San Diego. How often does that happen? 58 in LA right now, 59 in Phoenix, 26 in Flagstaff. They got some snow out of the deal, and it's chilly closer to home. 45 in the Yucca Valley, where snow fell yesterday down to about 4,000 feet. 27 in Big Bear, some 50s and 60s in the Coachella Valley right now, 61 at the airport. Current winds coming up from the south. They'll make that diurnal switch around to the northwest later tonight. Won't be too gusty, though. We'll get ourselves into the 50s in the middle of the night and start in the 40s once again. We'll get up into the upper 60s in the afternoon, and most of us will top out at 70, upper 50s in Joshua Tree, 43 in Big Bear. Your Comfort Air 7-day forecast shows us staying in a very temperate range. We're going to be in the low to upper 70s all the way into the weekend. Overnight lows will finally break into the lower 50s, but it looks like we're just going to stay in a very sweet zone all the way through the next 7 days.
The Dow soars over 1,600 points after Pfizer announces a vaccine. Those strong results were better than expected and could lead to an economic recovery from the pandemic sooner than expected. The Dow closed the day up just over 800 points, not quite as dramatic as the opening numbers. Shares for AMC spike 80% after Pfizer's vaccine announcement. Cinemark stock also rose more than 40%. The vaccine news offers hope for the theater industry, which has struggled since March. They tried to reopen with safety measures to help curb the virus's spread, but audiences have been slow to return to theaters. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us here at 5 o'clock. That does it for us. We'll see you back here after NBC Nightly News for a full hour of local news at 6.